Do you like heroes? Of course you do, we all do. There's a certain excitement in seeing your favorite hero arrive at the big scene and save the day. Whether you are an anime fan or not, we have all felt this excitement before. Maybe it was when you first saw someone like Superman or Spider-Man go into action, or maybe it was some other cartoon, comic, movie, or perhaps an anime. At some point in our life, almost all of us have tasted that thrill, that excitement of seeing someone strong teaching some bad guy a lesson by sheer force. Now, I am not trying to rake you in by saying that this thrill is unsurpassed. It's just that even if it may not be the greatest feeling there is, it's something that most of us grew up with. And we don't forget what we grew up with. It's just who we are. Now, as you can see from the title of this video, it's about My Hero Academia. Why you should watch My Hero Academia. You must be wondering why I decided to make a video on My Hero Academia now, considering how it's been a hot topic for almost 4 years now. Well, this video is a bit different. Instead of pointing out all the obvious good things about My Hero Academia, I'm going to talk about what I like about it, without giving any major spoilers, of course. Well then, shall we begin? When My Hero Academia anime first came out on screen, people thought it was childish. Some called it the next Naruto. While for some, My Hero was their very first anime. It was judged, it was appreciated, yet it was so ridiculed. But whatever people said, slowly but surely, the anime started to rake in some major audience. Gradually, it became one of the main titles of the shonen anime world. And while people may call it overrated, when you think about it from a binary standpoint, none of that really matters. The thing is that My Hero Academia was able to revive the concept, the popular concept of heroes that just wasn't getting much attention for quite some time. But what about One Punch Man? Isn't it the same thing as My Hero Academia? I agree there are one or two similarities, but both are entirely different kind of anime with different themes. One is about a badass guy who goes around bluntly one-shotting all these notoriously powerful dudes without ever batting an eye. While the other is about the story of a powerless boy who dreams of becoming the world's #1 hero. Besides, how many times have you seen a Japanese anime whose main focus is heroes? Exactly. We have seen everything from ninjas, saiyans, pirate hunters, trainers, shinigami, chefs, scientists, what else can you think of? But not many hero-related shows, right? Now back to why you should watch My Hero Academia. There are many reasons, but as I said before, when you take a back seat and try to think of it all from a binary standpoint, there's really not much that matters. But the one reason I can think of is that it takes you back to the times when you were just a kid and admired heroes, even dreamt of becoming one before eventually you realize that reality is often disappointing. And not just that, My Hero Academia also sheds light upon the realities of today's society, something that we definitely didn't get to see much as kids just because the emphasis was too much on the main character. How the good isn't always good and how the bad isn't always bad. Both heroes and villains are cut from the same cloth, and how there's not really much that separates them from each other. So yeah, this video is not just for a few new faces who have just discovered the anime called My Hero Academia. It's also for those who have been watching this series ever since it first came out back in 2016. Or to put it simply, it's just me telling you what I love about this anime. Let's start with how this story begins. It starts with the introduction of a boy named Izuku Midoriya. He is your normal everyday teenager. Seriously, there's nothing unusual about him. Now in a different world, Izuku might have turned out to be a hardcore shonen anime fan who loves superheroes and similar stuff, and also somehow manages to get good grades. But the story of this anime takes place in a modern day hero society where 20% of the entire population is born with some sort of uncanny ability called a quirk. In a world smothered with people who possess unusual abilities, the one who doesn't possess them obviously gets looked down upon. That's just how society works. What awaited Midoriya was a dreamless life filled with mediocrity. For the longest time, he has been inspired by a hero called All Might. And back when he saw All Might in action for the very first time, it was like a kid finding his true meaning in life. At that moment, he swore to his mom that he would become a great hero just like All Might. But then reality hits him. The doctors don't hold back on telling him he doesn't have a quirk and he most likely never will.
Sorry kid, it's not gonna happen.
For Izuku, this was far more painful than a mere heartbreak. At that moment, there was only one thing that he wanted to hear. One thing. That he too can become a hero. But years have passed and nobody has said those words. But even if there was no hope for him, Midoriya held on to a tiny light that he wasn't even sure was there. Studying all sorts of heroes there are, taking notes on their techniques, creating imaginary situations in his head, he did them all. Then the day came when he met his hero, and for the first time in forever, some stuff happens, but then he was told that, young man, even you can become a hero.
Young man, you too can become a hero.
And just like that, Midoriya sat down and cried his heart out, because for him to suddenly get acknowledged by the world's greatest hero out of nowhere was beyond some mere miracle. Little did he know, it wasn't a miracle, it was his destiny. The moment was filled with so much emotional depth that it's hard to believe it was just the second episode. Even in a short span of just 2 episodes, My Hero Academia was able to build up to a moment that was this emotionally epic. Something that even seasonal shonen anime struggle to pull off. It may have been quite a lot of time, but I still remember when I first saw this scene. By this point in the anime, I was already hooked. And then at the end of the episode, Midoriya mentions that this is the story how I become the world's greatest hero.
This is the story of how I became the world's greatest hero.
This sentence was the indication that becoming the world's greatest hero isn't a dream anymore. In fact, it's the desired, definite outcome of the story. You see, right at the end of the second episode, they made it crystal clear that this is how the story of this anime will end. Even mainstream shonen like Naruto and One Piece didn't do that. Sure, both Naruto and Luffy did go around telling everyone that they'll become Hokage and the Pirate King in their own respective universes. But in this case, Deku made it crystal clear that his story is about how he became the world's greatest hero, meaning that the outcome is already set in stone right from the get-go. As I said before, by this point in the anime I was hooked. And here's where it gets interesting. For an anime with a narrative like that, you'd think that the sole focus will be Deku, considering how he's the main character. That's exactly why I was so surprised to see just how much emphasis this anime puts on the other characters. Little by little, new characters get introduced and they get explored. Before you know it, you've already formed an emotional connection with most of the characters. Now let's get back to the superhero stuff I mentioned in the beginning of this video. My Hero Academia revolves around the modern day society of heroes and villains, but it's not just about heroes going around beating villains to a pulp either. Unlike most of the Western shows we used to watch as kids, where all villains are either sociopaths or just downright stupid, Japan has always made a point to make sense of why bad guys do what they do. Same is the case with My Hero Academia. Behind most of the main antagonists, there is a defined purpose that drives them to go up against the likes of All Might himself. So don't think of this show as just another shonen battle series. It's far more than that. It's a collective combination of the stories of different heroes and villains. Which brings us to All Might. At first he looks like the Japanese version of Superman. He has a stunning physique, the public adores him, the villains fear him, and aspiring heroes admire him. Everybody knows that he is the strongest. Some people even consider him to be invincible. However, he is not invincible. There is a story behind his strength and also behind his weakness. The main character is weak from the get-go, and the world's strongest is only strong for 3 hours a day.
Right now I can only do hero work for about 3 hours a day.
You see, instead of showing us a show where a certain someone is infinitely powerful, I'm looking at you, Saitama, My Hero Academia showed us how even in a superhuman society, people have distinct limits. Their abilities are not infinite. They are just the extensions of their body. And it's not just the characters and the plot either. The pacing of the show is also quite stable. Instead of giving us fillers upon fillers just to keep the story ongoing like other shonen anime, such as Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, My Hero Academia is divided into seasons, where they don't start working on to the next season until they have enough source material from the manga, which is a good thing. Every episode is well animated and well paced. The hype never cools down and the show never ceases to amaze us with insanely extraordinary visuals in between fights. I mean, just consider the ones we saw earlier this year. The amount of effort the folks put into the fights is just insane. Seriously, kudos to all the studios who don't sacrifice quality for quantity. There is a reason why we used to feel such awe and inspiration from seeing heroes in action. Plus, characters like Goku, Naruto, Luffy, or even your favorite shonen anime protagonists have always thrilled us with the excitement of seeing an underdog carve its own path. And now both of these elements are present right here in this anime called My Hero Academia. It's everything we ever wanted to see, yet we never even realized that. An underdog hero who will go to the far extreme to realize his dream, together with those around him, regardless of whatever comes in his way. That's why, guys, I don't want you to ever think that the golden age of shonen anime is over, because as long as we keep getting more anime like My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and Demon Slayer, shonen anime will never fall behind other genre. Also, it's not like One Piece is going to end in the next few decades anyways, right? So why should you watch My Hero Academia? It is an action-filled tale of aspiring heroes, filled with wholesomeness, a good narrative, some jaw-breaking visuals, and great soundtracks. And it actually has a pretty good dub too if you're a dub watcher. I'd say, why shouldn't you watch My Hero Academia? Now before you go, make sure to Detroit smash the like and subscribe button. And ring the bell too while you're at it. Now comment down below and let me know what you think about this anime. If you've seen it, do you agree with me that people need to watch it? If you haven't seen it and you watched this video, are you interested in it? Will you go watch it? Will you add it to your list? Comment down below. Also, you may be wondering why I didn't say Go Beyond plus Ultra, not even once in this video. So let's end this video by these golden words.